What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse by Sean Combs as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with threats, money.
Prince tried to warn us about something way deeper, and now with Diddy's trial pulling the curtains back on the dirtiest truths of the industry, we can see he wasn't just talking about who owns what or some label beef.
That said, the companies felt otherwise. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much.
Prince was hip to something about some real powerful folks in the game. What he knew could change how we look at his death altogether. And the only one who seemed to truly catch what he was saying, Cat Williams. For the longest time, I ain't know what kept Cat speaking out like that. Dude came off like he was never satisfied. Everybody thought Prince was just obsessed with owning his stuff. And sure he was. He told us in them interviews, straight up, this music biz was a modern-day plantation. He fought tooth and nail to get his masters back, but near the end, it wasn't just about shady contracts or dusty royalty checks. Prince started calling out names, real people. Word is, Diddy was one of them. Not just because he was rich or popular. Prince ain't like who Diddy was getting tight with. He thought those circles were shifting the whole game in a darker direction.
They've been a group. Everybody knows that. They've been aligned. If you stand against them, then they sometimes have a problem.
In 2015, Diddy was linking up with Warner Music Group, the same company Prince had been at war with for ages. This wasn't no simple label politics. Warner held Prince's whole catalog hostage for years, wouldn't even let him use his own name. That's why he rocked Slave on his face and switched his name up. So imagine how deep that cut when Prince saw Diddy moving behind the scenes with the same crew he'd been trying to escape. Word on the street is, Prince felt like Diddy wasn't just working with the machine, he was helping to upgrade it. Bigger money, deeper secrets, no accountability. And it wasn't just about the music. It was about controlling people.
There's a disintegration going on that we really have to address.
That's when Cat Williams steps into the story. Over the years, Cat's gone on record saying Prince gave him the drop on Jay-Z and Diddy. Cat claimed Prince had the upper hand, not just in contracts or industry beef, but real receipts, names, tapes, events, straight-up proof that could ruin careers and burn down reputations if they ever got out. Cat talked like he'd seen some stuff. Even if he didn't say he saw the docs, he always kept that same serious tone. He said Prince didn't trust nobody at the end. Dude would record everything, not for kicks, but to protect himself. He made sure there was a record of who came to his events, what went down, and who tried to pull something shady. But the theory goes even deeper. Folks say Prince found out about a whole network, artists getting lured into exclusive parties, then getting drugged, filmed, and blackmailed to keep quiet. This ain't some new conspiracy either. Dave Chappelle, Jaguar Wright, even Cat himself have hinted at similar setups. But Prince, with his money and pull, he might have had actual proof, just months after saying no to some major deals. Like when Roc Nation wanted full access to his vault. Prince ends up dead in an elevator at Paisley Park. They said it was an accidental OD, found fake pills laced with fentanyl at the crib.
It also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
His worries weren't just about himself. In those final weeks, Prince had some real convos with folks he trusted, talking about how the game had turned toxic. He called out big names and warned about the price you pay when you push back. He zeroed in on shady stuff, secret invite-only parties where young artists felt like they had to show up just to get a shot. Cat Williams says he's been taking notes for years, keeping everything Prince told him, convos, papers, even videos. In a 2022 interview with Arsenio Hall, Cat said Prince inspired him. He even tried rapping for 5 years before switching to comedy. They met when Cat was just 12. Prince was doing a show in Dayton, Ohio. From that point on, Cat looked at Prince as a mentor. Said dude gave him the swag he still got today. And in typical Cat Williams style, he described Prince as a brainiac who was always 30 moves ahead. We all know Prince had musical genius, but Cat said he taught him to own his weirdness too.
He was a high thinker. And a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever the curve was.
Now fans are connecting Prince's cryptic talk before he passed with Cat's claim that he was always way ahead of the game. Some folks think Prince might have told Cat something big, something dark, maybe even a warning about folks trying to take him out. And when feds started digging into trafficking and racketeering tied to music industry parties, it confirmed Prince wasn't just paranoid. He knew about Diddy's dealings. from his money to his secret parties. He had info that could have blown up everything. And when Diddy went public acting all broken up over Prince's death, Cat wasn't buying it. He reminded folks that Diddy's moves were the opposite of what Prince wanted. That contrast between public sympathy and private dirt made it real clear. The power plays in the industry ran way deeper than we thought. The beef between Prince and Diddy wasn't just a personal clash, it stood for two sides of the game. One about freedom and ownership, the other about control.
There's a disintegration going on that
Prince's beef with Diddy's hustle exposed some dark corners of the music world, especially those hidden parties that left young artists vulnerable.
so I think that we should address this as a community as to what it's doing to the culture.
Prince flipped the script with his 3,121 parties. He gave artists a safe space to be themselves, away from the snakes in the industry. While the big names were throwing parties that preyed on the come-up kids, Prince built sanctuaries where the real ones could create without fear. Behind closed doors, 3,121 was a whole different world. Artists could link up, build together, and share their visions without being used. There was no pressure to play the game, just vibes, talent, and support. The same couldn't be said for the infamous freak-off parties Diddy's name kept popping up in. At those joints, young artists got pressured into doing wild, illegal stuff. Some even say they were assaulted. But now, with these new charges coming down on Diddy, we got hard evidence that the rumors weren't just whispers. The indictments say Diddy used fear and force to trap people at those freak-offs. Folks thought they had to be there just to stay in the game, and that's how the cycle kept spinning. Prince's 3,121 events weren't just parties, they were rebellion. A statement, a different way forward. Cat Williams later said those safe spaces made Prince dangerous in the eyes of the power players. 'Cause when you build community outside their system, you're threatening their control. And as more artists opened up about their experiences at 3,121, the cracks in the industry's glossy image started showing. Prince knew what was up, and because he had his own power, money, and vision, he was a real threat to the folks eating off the current system. He didn't just protect himself. He looked out for the young bloods too. Prince's warnings hit different now that Diddy's star is fallen under those criminal charges. Extortion, blackmail, all of it. He made enemies when he refused to play nice. He stood alone when he wouldn't hand over his legacy. And when he started calling things out, that's when it got deadly. The missing tapes, the locked up evidence, the quiet investigation, the mystery drugs. It all points to the same thing. Prince's story ain't finished. And as this Diddy trial unfolds, more folks are seeing what's really been going on. Prince wasn't crazy, he was prepared. And now, the message he left is finally ringing loud. Not just the music, but the truth. And now, people listening. Anyway, everyone, that concludes this video.
He was so good at that, man. So good at like taking a line that maybe people would say and then making it into something that everybody now.
What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse by Sean Combs as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with threats, money.
He was a high thinker and a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever the curve was.